Lost it to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. A.D. Minimum.
3rd and 10 from the 11. Travis under pressure, trying to escape, able to escape. Turns the corner, stays in back.
Gets to the edge. Sonny Michel will send the dogs home.
To the 30. 35. Yeah! Whitfield to the 50. To the 40. Whitfield to the 30.
There's another first down.
Not dealing with much pressure at all when he does drop back to throw.
The play action. Bennett looks down the middle. McConkey's wide open. Touchdown, Dogs.
Alrighty, guys. We are back as soon as I get rid of that. There we go. We're here. Another episode of the Knowles and Dogs podcast. As always, I'm Hunter, and there's Dylan.
Yep.
And we got a good little show for you guys today. It's kind of be similar to last week's, where we kind of just give a little spiel about what's going on with all this conference realignment stuff. And then we get right back into our most exciting, biggest upset game, and biggest and most important game of that week, as well as, Dylan, tell them what also we're adding.
We're adding where we think College Game Day will be each week. Obviously, we won't do week 1 because they've already said where they're going. But weeks 2 through 4, we're going to be discussing.
Awesome. Sounds like a great plan.
Mhm.
As always, guys, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're watching, love it and appreciate it. Make sure we're getting out, spreading the word, and liking, enjoying the videos. Remember, you're also on Spotify. We're also on Amazon Music. And just continue what you're doing, guys. We like the progress. Picked up a couple more subscribers from this past episode, so always love to see that. And we are almost there, guys. What, Dylan? 3-4 weeks now?
I think
4.
after this weekend, it should be 3 weeks, right? Because I think it's
I think it's today's the 27th.
I said it pulled up too earlier.
Let's see. So today's Friday, and today is the 11th.
Mhm.
My birthday is the 27th. For anyone, happy birthday to me. So 27th. So that's 16 days. That's that first week. That'll be that Labor Day week.
It's like 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's a little over 2 weeks.
2.5, 3. We'll say 3.
Yeah, we'll say 3 weeks, but it's really 2 weeks and 2 days.
All right.
Sorry,
So-
I kept zoning out because the draft order dropped.
Oh yeah, we're in a draft fantasy football and league, and the draft order just got dropped.
And he didn't upload yet. Who watched him with the draft?
And it is just
controversy
all over.
But we'll get right into all the nitty gritty of all the details.
Yes,
Right
and
now.
for Dylan, anyone wondering, Dylan's wearing a Bucs jersey. My Steelers, head into Tampa tonight. We will have boots on the ground for both games, or the entire game. Different locations, but we'll be there.
Yeah.
But enough to NFL. Well, we're college right now. But instead of focusing first on all the upcoming season, all the fun stuff, we got to get right back into the whole mess, which is conference realignment right now. And a little update. This is going to be more around the Pac-12 or Pac-4 now. Some from last week to this week, a lot of stuff's coming out about, what went wrong with the Pac-12 TV deals, which is pretty much why this whole thing started. There's reports Stanford and Cal were getting reached out by the ACC, but then FSU and Clemson, the school presidents, they voted no to allowing them in. So which means it's pretty much made it a roadblock where it's not gonna. There's just not enough interest in the two schools to allow them in, which I don't mind because the ACC stands for what, Dylan?
The Atlantic Coast Conference.
And what you can't have the Pacific Coast Conference coming.
Especially 2 teams in like the San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, well, Palo Alto's a little north of San Francisco.
Yeah, but
Cal would be a little closer. They're where are they? They're more no, they're Berkeley.
yeah.
So they're a little closer, but yeah, I mean,
But I think
just
you would generally define that as the Bay Area. Both of those schools are Bay Area universities.
yeah, there's it wouldn't make sense. And you got to just think, as much as we all love, football and all that. I mean, other universities, like all the other university athletic teams and stuff, like nobody wants a team from, like, let's say Wake Forest to have to travel all the way to
Yeah.
Stanford and then come back right back and these are students too. These aren't just athletes. These are
Yeah. Student
students,
athletes.
student athletes. Students come first. I mean, you got to think about all the other stuff they got going on. Um, it's hard for really would make sense. I don't mind them striking that down.
Someone's trying to call me. I'm just gonna
Yeah, you
check
probably
what
don't
that
want to
was.
answer that. Or let's put him on speakerphone for all of us here. Let me pull up the quick little nugget around the ACC. I saved some stuff here for everyone to see. Yeah, there was reports they were trying to pursue The ACC was trying to pursue Cal and Stanford. There was also reports they were trying to also get SMU involved.
Yeah.
But
I
again, it's just not going to work out. I don't think. There's a report from Pete Thamel that came out that just said talks have stalled.
Mhm.
There's significant roadblocks after a president's meeting happened Wednesday night. There's just the lack of value between any of the teams.
Yeah.
It's broke down. I'm trying to see. In addition, talks to SMU aren't heading anywhere either.
I think the biggest thing that especially Florida State and Clemson are very against adding any of those three teams has to do with the fact that
They want out.
not only do they want out, but those teams in no way would bring value financially to the conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What has Stanford and Cal done? And,
Exactly.
can you can finish your thought?
The thing is with them, if you really want to keep FSU and Clemson in the conference, you got to make a massive swing.
Yeah.
Like you would have to pull West Virginia in.
Yes.
Like this is the first thing we're doing. You know what I mean?
West Virginia should be in the ACC regardless. I think
Yeah.
they got. I mean,
Mhm.
as bad as West Virginia's been
That's
football wise and some of the other athletics, I mean, they're a big enough brand.
Yeah, they're a name brand school. You know what I mean? People
Mhm.
think of West Virginia when they think of college athletics. They don't think of Stanford or Cal.
Stanford, why? Yeah, nobody. There's no interest in bringing in a school like Stanford, which is one of the hardest schools in the world to get into.
Yeah.
You know,
That's not something the ACC isn't struggling with keeping up like academics. You know what I mean?
yeah,
All
no,
the schools in the ACC have pretty good academics.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, because you have UNC, FSU, Clemson,
Duke,
um, Duke,
Forest, UNC.
yeah. So I think they're fine there. I think as you're talking about FSU and Clemson, I mean they won out,
Yeah.
and I was looking at some reports that the SEC was a little bit starting to maybe get their feet wet a little bit with interest back with Clemson and FSU. Um, I think why not take a swing for them? I mean, you're
Yeah.
the SEC, they're right there.
Hmm.
You could you would have that would put you at 18 teams, right there with the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Um, See the difference, I think, with the ACC trying to get Pac teams, where as far as like the Big Ten is that most of the Big Ten schools are regionally located in the Midwest. So like it's not going to be it's still a very long travel, but you're talking coastline to coastline, where Big Ten it's Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa to Eugene, Oregon. You know,
It also helps because the Pac-12 and the Big Ten already had a connection.
yeah,
You know, with the the Rose Bowl. there is an automatic connection between the Midwest and the West Coast that I think the ACC really struggles with, because even though it's the Atlantic Coast Conference, it's really just the Southern Atlantic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's not really a lot. I mean, Pittsburgh is what the most. I guess Syracuse is the most northern team there, but
Yeah.
Syracuse and Boston College were.
And they haven't done anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me
They're
see.
hating on the podcast right now in that group chat.
They're just jealous, you know.
but I can't say his name because he wanted a shout out.
Trying to think. Oh, let me see. So, and we talk about where all this kind of went wrong was the TV deals that the Pac-12 couldn't get done. I mean, modern day college football now with all the moving and all these schools and stuff. I mean, TV deals run these universities.
Yeah.
Because which one's going to give out the biggest paycheck? And there was an article somebody wrote. I'm going to try to find it for you. It was just like outlining it was a tweet sent out from Jeff Fuller. Interesting postmortem on the Pac-12 media deal saga. Summary of each media offer. Amazon never submitted. The NBC never submitted despite approaching the Pac-12 3 different times. Fox offered $3.5 to $4 million a team for 13 B package football games a year. So likely it's like, the late window Fox or FS1.
Yeah.
ESPN offered, didn't want anything. Apple TV offered $23 million a year for each team, with all streaming content on Apple TV Plus. And then now there was a report out today that said the Pac-12 was offered by ESPN $30 million per school in the fall of 2022. So they could have already had a TV rights deal done, and this would never have happened.
Yep.
This network wanted it all. The network wanted it, the Pac-12 network, but the chancellors and presidents wanted more. They were thinking the lines of 40 to 50 million. ESPN didn't like that, didn't agree, so they dropped the deal. And now we're here. Fast forward to today, they don't have a deal, and the Pac is soon going to be no more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could talk about you could point fingers at it all, but at the end of the day, it's these. I mean, it's money runs everything.
Yeah.
Money's the ultimate source of happiness, and these schools wanted more, and it came back to bite them in the butt.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem the Pac-12 had was the fact that there really aren't as many valuable brands in the Pac-12 as I think a lot of the people within, like, the governing body of the Pac-12 really think there are. Because outside of USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington, I think the rest of the Pac-12 is kind of, expand. You know what I mean? It's not like ESPN's not rushing to air Arizona versus Utah. You know what I mean? Even when both teams are good, that's not something that there's an immediate draw towards. So I think right away, $30 million was probably more than they even deserved.
Yeah, and this was, so let's see, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. This would have been right around, I'm assuming, USC and UCLA were gone.
Yeah.
So you would have still retained everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably could have gone after some top tier Mountain West schools like San Diego State, maybe Boise, Fresno,
Nevada.
And you could have got them in, been fine.
Yep.
Instead, now, like you said, they're not. Now you lost Oregon, you lose Washington, you lost Utah, you lost Colorado, you lose Arizona, you lose Arizona State. There's just no value.
Yeah, it's a strange world we're living in now, where give it 4 years and the Pac-12 is now the Pac-4, and they're probably the least valuable conference in America.
I mean, they had a little bit for some time as far as just, it's hard when half the world that cares about college football isn't really Pac-12 staying up for Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just hard because you're not going to get as many views. You're not getting all the ratings as schools are on the East and Midwest are.
Yep.
These noon kickoffs, noon to 3:30 kicks. So yeah, like you're saying, there's just no popularity. So you're not getting any traction there.
Mm-hmm.
And that means, less money coming towards you.
And like I said, there's only 4 teams that even like matter on the West Coast when it comes to like making money. It's Oregon and Washington, who not only have been good but have large fan bases. And then you have the 2 teams in Los Angeles, the second largest city in America. You know what I mean? Like it just those are the only schools where, a conference looks at it and they go, okay, well, those schools will make us money. Even when they're bad, you know what I mean? We can have, Michigan goes to USC, and even if Michigan runs the stadium, they're still going to make a ton of money on viewership because those are 2 brands.
Mm-hmm. I saw a thing, or it was like, nobody's really talking about it, but like this is like the last ride. Everyone's like the Last Dance documentary, but it was like this is the last ride, and it was like all 5 of like the main conferences because it pretty much is. You got to take for what it is if you're someone that appreciates like regionality and people playing other schools near you.
Yeah.
Because get ready because you're not going to see that. I will. On the flip side, you're going to get better games. I think.
Yeah,
Out
absolutely.
of this. I mean, recently college football has had a little issue with that, where you're not seeing as many competitive games. There might be 50 to 80 games a week, and you might get 2 to 5 that are good games. You know what I mean? So I do think it's going to help with that. But if you're someone that doesn't like USC playing Iowa, buckle up. That's what you're going to take.
I mean, this reminds me, just a couple of years ago, people were complaining West Virginia was in the Big 12,
Yeah.
now that seems like small potatoes, like that's
Yeah,
like
because
that's like,
you got UCF in the Big 12.
yeah, it's like
BYU in the Big 12.
USC in the Big 10. They'll be
Now,
playing.
big question for you.
Mhm.
So you're an honest Florida State fan, you'd say, right?
Yeah, I would say I show my bias, but I try not to be like crazy.
You're honest with it.
Yeah.
Would you rather be today, if you're a Florida State and you got to choose,
Mm-hmm.
Pill A is the Big 10, we'll say Pill B is the SEC, and then there's a side pill on the side that's just staying in the ACC. So Pill A or Pill A, Pill B or Pill C? Which one are you choosing?
I'm choosing B. I mean, look, as much as I hate to say this, I've been wishing the FSU was in the SEC since I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's been one of those things where, when I grew up playing NCAA 14, bam, just move them over.
Yeah, right?
It's just one of those things where it's like, not only is the ACC like brand wise, it's like, you play Clemson and Miami and, everybody else is just whatever, right? But, oh, one sec. My stepmom's calling me. I got to take this real quick.
All right, I'll cover this. Yeah, so FSU is, I think, better built to be a school that is more regionally better in the South. No real good college football fan, I think, wants FSU in the Big Ten. You're going to get good games, sure, but I would want to rather see FSU, UF play. It's a conference game now. You got every year. You got Florida State, LSU. We're starting to see this now. You had a great game last year. You're going to get another one this year. Same thing with Clemson. Clemson, it's been the out-of-state conference, the out-of-conference game with South Carolina, the Palmetto Bowl, but now you're going to get that more every year, maybe. Better competition. Clemson, Bama more often. Clemson, Georgia more often. Just overall better for the sport, I think, if that they choose to do so. Whether or not, one way or another, I'll say Florida State and Clemson are not going to be in the ACC much longer. I can tell you that right now. They want too much money. They want out of this conference deal that they're stuck in right now until 2036 right now. But that's not going to be around much longer. They are already setting up a private equity with JP Morgan to try to get more money, to try to maybe put pressure on the ACC to be like, listen, you are getting in the way of something that we are trying to get out of. And they just don't see any interest in being around much longer. Now, it is a lot of talk from a school that hasn't won the conference since 2014, I'll say. So they're definitely, calling their shot, but I think they're going to win the conference this year, or at least be right there with it. Clemson's still, the top, the Kings sitting in the throne, and each new year a new team will step on up, and nothing ever happens. So you'll see this year if anything happens, but yeah, it's going to be a wild year, and it sucks because as good as this year is going to be, as every year is, it's going to be, all the focus is going to be towards, what about next year? What about the year after? How's conference expansion? We're going to be talking about college expansion in week 5 instead of focusing on the top games that week. Instead of talking about how big of a game Florida or Clemson, Florida State is that week in week 4, we're going to be saying how's the ACC not falling apart now this week. It's definitely just a new realm of somewhere where just, if you've been around the sport for a while, you just haven't seen. So it's all gonna be new for everyone, but we're here. Might as well get used to it. As Dylan's back now.
Sorry about that.
Awesome.
I'm so sorry about that. I was just telling you earlier, it's my brother's birthday. We ordered a Lego set for him. They sent us the wrong one.
Oh no.
It just arrived, the right one. Amazon didn't even put it in a box. They put the sticker on the Lego box and just
Oh
threw it.
no.
So I had to go get that. Sorry about that.
We're all good. If you're all good, I think we can move on though.
All right, awesome.
Awesome. So we'll move on now to the fun stuff, which is back to big games, upset alerts, and most exciting games, weeks 4 through 6 this week. We did 1, 2, and 3 last week. We were 4 through 6 this week. Dylan, you have yours down?
Yep.
Awesome.
All
right, so I'll let you start this week. We'll alternate, but I'll let you start.
All right. Well, I think we're probably going to have the same week 4 biggest game. I picked Florida State at Clemson. Hopefully I should be there for the game, just, avoiding any holdups or anything. But I think this is going to be the biggest game, not only of week 4, but I think it's the biggest ACC game of the year. I don't think anything else is even going to come close, really, unless, North Carolina gets a defense. But,
Yeah, right.
But, this game to me is probably going to just be a preview of the ACC championship also. So that's why I'm picking it as my biggest game. What did you pick, Hunter?
So I did Florida State Clemson as well. Like you're saying, it's clear cut. It's probably on paper, at least right now, it's the biggest game.
Yeah.
Going into the season, or ACC season at least, Clemson's the top dogs, still the Kings, sitting on the throne. Nobody's been able to dethrone them yet. Florida State, who had a great year last year, comes in as like this new revitalized university that hasn't. Dylan, I was saying while you were a little gone for there. They haven't won the ACC since what, 14?
Yep, 2014.
So you haven't really done much. So now, but you're getting a little revitalized. Can this be the year they put it all together? It has significant implications for the college football playoff, because if one of these two teams has a really good year, this will definitely help more Florida State, especially if they win LSU. Because that way now you realistically will have two top 15 wins on your resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's big time. Huge.
Yeah,
And it's a night game, I'm assuming?
I don't think they've said yet,
I'd
but
be shocked
no
if
way
it
it's not. There's no way it's not because it's going to be the biggest Florida State Clemson. I mean, last year was a night game.
was.
That
Yeah.
was Tallahassee. This will probably a night game in Death Valley.
So, yeah, this will be for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure. What's your upset alert game though?
I said Arkansas versus LSU. You know, battle for the boot. It's not a massive rivalry, but I think for Arkansas fans it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's a game every year where you go, wow, Arkansas played really tough, it's this game. And I think just with LSU, there's so much hype around the program that this game might just, be a blur on the radar and a blur that could look really bad if things go sour.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that as my biggest upset.
That's not a bad one. Last year was like a sleepwalk game for LSU. I think they still won, but man, that was an ugly game.
Yeah.
My upset alert game is there was two. I couldn't choose just one. It's a Friday night game, I believe, for the one. Wisconsin at Purdue. We're
Mhm.
just looking for overall.
Yeah.
As you all know, I'm high on Wisconsin this year. Fickle and the boys. They go to Purdue, and if we know anything about heading to West Lafayette, is teams get upset there.
Yeah.
Especially at night. So that is one tough team, tough place to play.
Yeah.
If you're Wisconsin, so they better have their head on a swivel. Also, Ohio State heads to Notre Dame that week.
So I saw that one. I wasn't thinking much of it just because, I don't have that high. I'm not that high on Notre Dame.
I mean, I don't think anybody is, and I don't think Marcus Freeman minds that.
Yeah.
Let them not worry about us.
Mhm.
I mean, we saw Clemson go in there a couple years ago and lost.
Yep.
So anything's possible. Do I think Ohio State loses? No. I think Ohio State fans invade Notre Dame, how it usually happens. But again, never know.
Yeah.
Most exciting game though.
I said Ole Miss versus Alabama. I mean, when we talk about just fun games, I mean, Ole Miss versus Alabama is just one of those games. Last year it came right down to the end. Just
Mhm.
few mistakes by quarterback, and they probably would have won. But
Yeah.
when you talk about a coaching matchup, that's just fun. I mean, Saban.
Saban and Kiffin.
I mean,
Saban
like you could just tell Kiffin loves bothering Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Like he just loves it. Like obviously he looks up to the guy because he was an assistant under him, but man, that's an exciting game. Like that's a game that like you circle on the week and you're like, man, I think that's the only game that could probably rival FSU versus Clemson for that week on.
I have Colorado and Oregon.
Mhm.
You know, a intriguing matchup. Just with Colorado now, all of a sudden, having a little life. But
Yeah.
now you got, Dan Lanning saying, what have they done for us in the conference? And Sanders coming right back with them. Adam, got a little chippiness going on right there. Right? So, I think it's in Eugene, so I don't think Oregon's going to lose.
Yeah.
But you never know. Nice little quarterback battle, Shadur Sanders and Bo Nix. I think I'm high on Oregon and this year, so I think that they win this game. But this could be a little high scoring game. I think.
See, my only thing with this game is just because it's Sanders' first year as the head coach at Colorado, and it's pretty early in the season too. I don't know if they're going to be there. Oregon is coming off of a pretty good season last year, and Bo Nix for a decent part of that year was people were talking about Heisman candidate Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Dark horse Heisman Bo Nix.
Well, if he wouldn't have had his awesome blunder against Georgia, he might have had a little better.
Yeah.
chance.
But the only reason I didn't pick it is I do think Oregon might just kind of blow the brakes off of them. But you never know. It's always hard to play up in Eugene. Always hard to play in that.
One of the best atmospheres you'll find is at Autzen Stadium.
Yeah, that weather, it's just it's humid and it's muggy and it's like cold at the same time, and you're just like, this sucks.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to week 5 now. I'll start this week.
Okay.
biggest game, I have LSU Ole Miss.
Mm,
So this week I was looking at just the overall board and not a whole lot of like of course like obvious choices. So I had to do a little digging. But I think LSU Ole Miss could be a one. Ole Miss usually starts the year off very well.
yeah.
LSU, obviously, this is gonna be a nice little test for them heading down to Oxford. So, you know, like this game is another one of those games where in the SEC West where you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, and this could be another spot where Ole Miss is going to put up some points. LSU is going to have to do that. And this could be another one of those high scoring affairs where inevitably it comes down to Kiffin trying to go forward on like 4th and 40. And, of course, he's not going to get it. So, yeah, that's my big game, though.
That was a good pick. I picked Utah versus Oregon State.
Okay.
Utah, everybody knows, had a great year last year. They looked fantastic. Minus the game against Florida, they were, probably one of the best teams in the country.
They should have won that game, too.
Yeah. I mean, if a few things go differently, there's a chance they play for the playoff. You know what I mean?
If they just run the football at the 2-yard line instead of throwing it, they would have won the game.
And they win that game, they probably have an argument to be in the college football playoff. Like that's just how
Now, they lost another game after that, though, which kind of hurt them.
They lost to UCLA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then they beat USC twice to win the Pac-12. So they lost 2 games. You cut that game out against Florida, they lost 1 game against a ranked team. And it was in, Pasadena, which isn't much of a home environment, but, nobody needs to care about that.
No.
Anyways, I just think, it'll be a good game. Oregon State obviously had a good year last year too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my biggest game of the week.
Speaking of Oregon State, I saw something that was it was like the scoreboard or the final score of Oregon State and Florida, and it was that one of these teams is about to not have a conference, and the other one is in the mightiest of all conferences.
Oh, but I remember that's actually funny. I was looking at was it TikTok or Twitter yesterday, and it was is this the dagger?
Oh yeah,
if Florida can get the field goal to drop the score to 27.
Oh, that was such just cowardism at its finest right there. Holy cow, that was bad. My upset game is Georgia at Auburn.
Oh,
this will be Auburn. This will be. We're assuming Carson Beck's going to be the starter.
Mm-hmm.
This will be the first test for Georgia. I always get scared to death when they got to go down to Jordan Hare. With this new look team with Hugh Freeze leading the way. It's just a scary place for me because it always is just a great atmosphere. It's always one of the most electric places to play at. And I'm just hoping that it's just a normal 3:30 game where not a night game. It's weird. Every time we're at Jordan Hare, it's a 3:30 game. And then every time it's in Athens, it's like a night game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I'm just hoping, again, it's an afternoon game. But if they can get over that, I think, get the wheels running going into like Tennessee that week. But that's my upset game. I get a little worried.
I picked Syracuse versus Clemson.
I was thinking about that one as well.
At first when you said, I think you brought it up, like, I don't know if it was in person or on the podcast like a week or 2 ago. And at first I was like, no, they're going to pull the brakes off of it. And then I was like, actually, Clemson always struggles with Syracuse for no reason at all. I think it's the orange uniforms. But
dude, the dome has like a curse on Clemson.
There's some weird effect going on in that dome.
It's the lack of oxygen. They cut it off during the game.
I remember hearing before that like they don't put on the like AC in there on hot.
I don't think there is AC in there.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, the thing's been around since the university was founded, so I mean, I don't know if they've been able to get AC.
It's like no wonder FSU and Clemson want to leave the conference. One of the
right. Look at the playing conditions.
Dome. But I think absolutely, because that's just one of those games that like every year Clemson's in the fourth quarter fighting.
Yeah, and it's
It's a team that can't throw the football.
even when it's in Death Valley, it's
Yeah.
always a close game. These two teams there's just some weird effect Syracuse has on Clemson.
It makes no sense.
Where Syracuse should have won like 2 of the last 3 meetings, and they do something to screw it up.
Yep. Every single time.
All right, my most exciting game
Mhm.
is South Carolina at Tennessee.
I was thinking about that one too. I was
So,
thinking about it.
I mean, if you watched last year's game, I mean, Carolina put up like was it 60 or 70? They won by 31, I think.
I think they put up 60. Yeah,
Double check final score.
I think it was. Yeah, it was really high. I remember that.
Hold on. 63-38. Just a complete and utter onslaught the
Yeah.
Gamecocks put on the Vols. That was the game Hendon Hooker went out with the injury. Didn't matter though; they were getting crushed anyway.
Yeah.
But now you get this little hyped up, good vibes South Carolina team. We'll get to head on to Rocky Top, and we'll see if Tennessee and the Vols can get some little revenge piece back on there. You know that crowd's going to be going bazonkers.
I'll tell you, if I was a betting man, I would bet
the house down on Tennessee.
not just that, but I would also bet it's going to be a checkered game.
Checkered game. Spencer Rattler sucks on the road.
Yep.
Or has up to this point at least.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think if we're going the over under on Rocky Top's chanted, I would go the over 50.
Over 50. That's a big number.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a wild game.
That's gonna be a big number. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. High scoring game though.
Yeah.
Another high scoring game. I still don't think anything of Tennessee's defense, and South Carolina's defense isn't really much better. But it's going to be really come down to how well Rattler plays with that kind of crowd.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree with you. I think Tennessee will win that game though. But I said for my most exciting game of the week, your biggest game, I said Ole Miss versus Alabama. Or nope, I'm sorry, LSU versus Ole Miss. My notes all look the same on my screen. For a lot of the same reasons you said it would be your biggest game. I just think those teams and just that matchup, it's just a fun matchup to watch.
Do you remember back in was it the 2019 year when Burrow was there? And they went to Ole Miss, and John Rice Plumlee ran for like 300 yards against them.
Yeah.
And they still lost. LSU still won by like at least 2 scores.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Well, yeah.
Ole Miss had cut it, I think, to like almost single digits, to like a score or 2.
Yeah.
And Plumlee was just running up and down the field against him.
Yep.
And he still couldn't get within range.
That LSU team was just one of those teams they could score at will. Like they legitimately could do whatever they wanted with the football all time.
Let me watch the SEC title game. I mean, that was
yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Davis looking like he was on ice skates out there against Burrow.
I say it like this, that year's Oklahoma team was probably one of the better defenses they had with Lincoln Riley, and they lost in the first quarter. Like
he put 7 TDs up in the first half.
Yeah, like at the end of the first quarter, it was over. Like we already knew LSU won.
Was it Stetson Bennett's national title game stats? First half stats were just up there.
Yeah,
or just overall stat line.
Mm-hmm.
He tied Burrow. No, he had 8 no, he had 7. I think. I don't know. Anyway, week 6 we'll move on to.
Yep.
Biggest game, OU Texas. This is actually a good week of football.
I also picked the same game, so
yeah, OU at Texas. It's the Red River Showdown.
Yep.
Let's get it right, folks. Politically correct. Showdown. I mean, you can't really say. Can OU respond after getting beat 49-0?
No.
Can Texas continue to dominate?
Yes.
Will this be a competitive game?
No.
Will OU score a point?
Yes, I do think they'll score.
Okay, there we go.
I picked this game more than anything for the sentimental value that this is the last time this rivalry will be a Big 12 matchup,
Mhm.
which is a strange thing to say, right?
Yeah.
But it's at the Texas State Fair. It's in the Cotton Bowl. It is, it's one of those games where I think everybody wants to go to at some point in their lifetime, just to see what it's like. You know what I mean? The half red, half burnt orange stadium. I'm sorry, crimson.
Yeah.
And
Let's get it right, Dylan. Gosh.
the Boomer Sooners. You know,
Yeah. Let's get it right.
but it's even when one of the teams is way better than the other, it's always still a fun game to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, I think this will be a competitive game this year. I do think second year Venables, I think OU can't play as bad as any worse than they did last year against them. So at least they got that out of the way. I think
Yeah.
you're gonna still see a high scoring game, but I think it's a closer game than people imagine it to be.
I will agree with you there. I do think that game last year was rock bottom for Venables.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see something like that.
That and then the TCU game was just as bad. They went to TCU and got curb stomped.
Yeah, but I don't think it was as embarrassing as losing to Texas, though. Because
Nah, I'm trying to
losing
think.
to a rival like that is just a little bit more of a sting,
Yeah.
especially in the Red River where it's like, it's at a neutral site. It's supposed to be 50-50
That's true.
and you get the brakes blown off of you.
Yeah.
They're talking about pulling out a guy and there's the last name Booty out there to help you.
General Booty, big time. General Booty's heading out there.
He better get some play time this year. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so I'm actually going to flip flop
Mhm.
my upset and most exciting because, so upset one, I have Michigan going to Minnesota.
Mhm.
Michigan doesn't play anybody ever. They
Yep.
always get all their games at home.
Yep.
Minnesota's always plays somewhat better at home.
Mhm.
I think Tanner Morgan's not there anymore. He's been there for 10 years now. I think he's gone.
Oh, he'll be back.
He'll be back. Okay. I just depending on what time this game falls down to, it could be a game that maybe Michigan or Minnesota maybe just comes a little extra tamped up for, comes ready to play and keeps it a one-score game the entire time, and then might be able to steal a possession or two, or maybe they're able to get to McCarthy, maybe shut down the run game or limit it at least. So definitely somewhere Michigan needs to be on their head on a swivel and make sure that they aren't just trying to sleepwalk through.
Yeah. And you are right. He is not playing for Minnesota.
Okay, he's not there.
He's actually going to be playing tonight for us. He
Okay.
plays for the Steelers. I didn't even know he was in Pittsburgh.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, I forgot. He signed as an undrafted free agent. I'm sorry, all my Steelers out there.
But I think that's a good pick. I picked Texas A&M versus Alabama because that's the one game that Jimbo Fisher game plans for.
Yeah.
Like I think you've noticed every single year, every other game the whole team looks lost. Like the offense can't score, the defense can't stop any. But all of a sudden when they play Alabama, it's like, we've been practicing for this.
They have. Have you seen that clip going where like Johnny Manziel didn't watch any tape?
Yeah.
On his iPad, like that's what they do. They just kind of they're like playing out the Madden playbook and just doing whatever to trick Alabama going into it. And then they don't have any team meetings or anything. They just kind of show up whenever. But Bama week to get ready to roll.
Yeah, and I do think part of the reason why I think this is going to be an upset, I do think there's a decent chance Texas A&M upsets Alabama more than anything, is I think Jimbo Fisher's on his last string at A&M, in Texas. I think if he has another bad season, he's gone. Like legitimately, there's no way they keep him. But I think even if he has a bad year, but they beat Alabama, that would be his saving grace again.
Yep, and then you get it at home too.
Because that's all those boosters care about is winning games at home for some reason.
Yep.
So if they pull off the upset, that's the game to do it.
Yep.
So.
All right, so we'll be back next week with 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So, but now we got one last little treat for you guys. It's college game day predictions.
Oh yeah.
Weeks 2 through 4. Change the banner. There we go. All right. So we'll just go through weeks 2, 3, 4. Pretty simple, self-explanatory. And we're going to choose based off what game's being played, that top game, where we think game day crew will be there. So, week 2, I have Tuscaloosa for Bama, Texas.
Yep, me too.
Okay. I mean, pretty self-explanatory.
I
I
think.
think it's already a 7 o'clock game that night. So,
Who do you think the guest will be?
gosh, I don't know.
Do you think we'll get an Alabama football player, or do you think we'll get like
No, it'll be some celebrity, I think.
yeah,
Probably somebody that's from Bama.
graduated from there? Yeah.
Yeah. Or just lives in the area.
Yeah, likes the team. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. That's who you had too?
I also had that. I don't think there's another pick for that week, to be honest.
Yeah, probably not. Week 3, I have Morgantown, West Virginia
Ooh.
for the backyard brawl. I
Mhm.
didn't notice this. It's already come out. It's the 7 o'clock game for ABC.
Is it really?
Yeah. Backyard brawl. I mean, you can never. These games are always fun to watch, and the atmosphere. Morgantown, West Virginia's gonna suck this year, but that atmosphere. They don't get many night games in West Virginia these days.
Yeah.
So to get one for Pitt to come in for the first time in probably almost a decade is going to be some sort of environment that you don't want to miss.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I mean, you saw what happened last year. It broke the stadium record at Acrisure Heinz Field, whatever you want to call it. It broke the stadium record as far as like football game goes there. So
yeah,
just saying.
it's gonna be crazy there. But
Milan Pusker Field is gonna be big time.
But that is not what I picked. Ooh.
Okay, what'd you do?
I said LSU at Mississippi State.
Okay.
For one reason more than anything is obviously I think this is ESPN's 1 week they had the opportunity to do a honoring Mike Leach moment because the game is at Mississippi State. It is, LSU, a team who I got to be honest, ESPN is really high on more than I think anybody else in the country.
Mhm.
I think this is their week. They give the whole week to Mississippi State. They not the whole, they give it to them. They go, in remembrance of Mike Leach. They bring out a former player or, what's his name, quarterback
From
Mississippi who played at Washington State. I forget his name.
Oh, Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, they bring out Gardner Minshew as like the guest that week.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they'll do.
Yeah.
Obviously, big chance it won't happen, but I do think ESPN, just because they're trying to ramp up, everything, I think that's where they'll do it.
I'm thinking that it'll probably be guest picker, it could be Pac-Man Jones. Adam Pac-Man Jones works with Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee's on game day.
Mhm.
They were both teammates at West Virginia. The year that they lost to Pitt, that would have sent them to the national title game. Isn't that crazy to think 07 West Virginia could have been playing, was it LSU or Ohio State for the national title game?
Yeah. You know who else could have been playing that year?
USF.
USF. Woo!
USF.
Go Bulls.
Hey, horns up. I'll get you. No, it's been more like this, right?
I think they're like more spread out. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't go to South Florida.
Yeah, no. All right. In week 4, I think we kind of both have the same one.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson.
I think, yeah.
FSU. Yeah.
The only thing that really sucks to me about this is the fact that it's at Clemson because there's no good Clemson celebrities.
No.
I
think they brought Christian Wilkins on last year.
Yeah, like that sucks. No offense, but because if they had it at if it was in Tallahassee, you could do somebody who graduated from FSU. What's his name? The comedian.
Bert Kirscheiser.
Yeah, Bert Kirscheiser could have been on there.
They could bring Deshaun Watson on. Although
they're gonna bring Trevor Lawrence on.
There you go. There you go. I mean, perfect. We just solved it. We just gave College Game Day their guest picker idea at Knowles and Dogs podcast when you guys are telling everyone.
I really wonder what he's gonna pick. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, Clemson's gonna win, guys." All right, I gotta go. Games next week. You all right?
Dylan, you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I have an audio issues here.
No, you're good.
Audio issues. Okay, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
All right, we're back. We're back.
you. Mhm.
We're celebrating too much, but we're back. Okay. So, oh yeah, sorry, we already talked. So yeah, Trevor Lawrence is gonna be guest picker,
Yep.
and yeah, we just solved a big issue that College Game Day was gonna have. Could see Oregon, Colorado, depending on how good Colorado is.
Yeah, I can see that too, but I don't think they're gonna sacrifice because they're gonna get that game too. Like ABC is gonna get that game.
Yeah.
So I just see it being way too good for ESPN to pass up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree there.
Especially since Lee Corso is a Seminole.
True.
Not that I think he really has sway on where they go, but I think, in one of his last years, I think they'll go to one Florida State game because I love Lee Corso, but we're coming to the end.
Yeah, he needs to be gone. They got rid of Pollock, which is absurd.
Yeah.
They get Corso's raggedy old butt out of there.
It's
Put
actually
Pollock-
crazy to me. They got rid of Pollock, but they didn't get rid of
Corso.
not Corso, but Desmond Howard.
Oh yeah, never forget Baylor, Texas A&M. Who else was it? Michigan and
Pittsburgh.
Pitt. That's right, Pitt. Yep. Yeah.
Who did that? Oh my god, that was
That alone is a fireable offense.
That's why they kept him, is because they'll say stupid things like that and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Same
Yep.
reason what him as a job.
Alrighty. I think we have reached the conclusion though today.
Mhm.
As always, guys, remember to like, subscribe, and spread the podcast out so we can keep growing
Yes.
and keep getting content out for you guys. Really do appreciate you guys that are watching. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Continue doing that. For anybody new or watching that hasn't subscribed, got to get on that. So,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Please do that.
So we'll be back next week for another week closer to college football. We'll have next couple weeks of predictions. That'll lead us right up to that first week where we'll do a week 1 preview. So
Exactly. It will be good.
Yep, for sure. So without further ado, guys, I think unless Dylan, you have anything else to say?
Just spread positivity in your life and go Buccaneers.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. We're gonna go enjoy the game tonight, and we'll be back next week. So Make sure to watch, listen, subscribe, and peace out.
See you guys.
See ya.